On behalf of us all, I'd like to pay our respects to the people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional owners of this land on which we gather this evening, and acknowledge their elders, both past and present. Tonight we welcome the Premier of Victoria, the Minister for Cultural Affairs and Minister for Veterans Affairs, the Honourable John Brumby, who will be joining us shortly, the former Premier of Victoria, the Honourable Steve Bracks, the US Ambassador to Australia, Jeffrey Bleich, the Minister for Major Projects and Minister for Roads and Ports, the Honourable Tim Pallas, Deputy Lord Mayor of Melbourne, Susan Riley, the US Consul General to Victoria, Michael Thurston, a very special one for me, the Chilean Consul General Diego Velasco von Pilgrim. Diego, welcome. The Chinese Consul General Shen Weilian, the Ecuadorian Consul General Mauricio Mena, the Secretary of the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet, the Honourable Terry Moran, and the Chairman and members of our sister committees the Committee for Geelong, Committee for Ballarat, Committee for Portland, and all the way from the west, the Committee for Perth. Welcome everybody. To our event sponsors, Grollo Equiest, and our celebrity chef, Mr. Guy Grossi, the RACV and The Age, welcome. To our distinguished guests, members of the Committee for Melbourne and their guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the Committee for Melbourne's 2010 Melbourne After Dark Dinner. My name is Andrew McLeod and I'm the new CEO of the Committee for Melbourne. This annual dinner is an opportunity for Melbourne leaders to share a night together, engage in conversation and reflect on some of the major challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for our state and for all our futures. This year's dinner is an even more special night because on this occasion we are celebrating our 25th anniversary. So on behalf of our annual dinner sponsor, Grollo Equiest, we are delighted that Mr. Guy Grossi of Grossi Florentino has designed our menu. Born and bred in Melbourne, Guy is globally recognised as a leading Australian chef and food personality. So I'm glad that you can continue with your entree when later this evening you will hear from our Chairman, Mr. George Pappas, and the Premier of Victoria, Mr. John Brumby. After dinner, we will be entertained by our special guest, Mr. Max Gillies. We will then be announcing the winner of the 2010 Melbourne Achiever Award. And before the evening ends, we will invite you to join us in the Melbourne Supper Club, which will be to our left, for desserts and coffee, and a chance to exchange information, catch up with old friends, and make new ones. And if you're curious about who else is here tonight, there is a program on your tables listing the people here tonight. When I was first interviewed for this job as the CEO of the Committee for Melbourne, I was asked, what is it that I like about Melbourne? Why is it that I was wanting to return home? And I answered, there are two things. I like the MCG, and I like the fact that you can drink water from the tap. And our Chairman, Mr. Pappas, said to me, Andrew, aren't you being just a little bit flippant? And I said, no, hang on a minute. Think about it. The MCG. You cram 100,000 people into a stadium. You mix them up together. They passionately support one or other of the two teams. And at the end of the day, someone wins, someone loses, and everyone goes home. No violence, no riots, no flares. The MCG says a lot about Melbourne and its community and about how the people interrelate with each other. And drinking water from the tap. I've run UN emergency operations in a number of countries and I've had the opportunity to live in some of the world's best cities like Kabul, Islamabad and Kigali, and some of the other ones like London and New York. And I know that most people on the planet can't do a simple thing like drink water from the tap. The fact that we can says a lot about our governance and our infrastructure. So those two very simple things, the MCG and drinking water from the tap, say a lot about our community, how we work together, our infrastructure and our governance. And at the end of the day, in Melbourne, everything works. And Melbourne works because it's been planned from the beginning, from Hoddle and Co. moving forward. We have been very lucky. And over the last quarter of a century, the Committee for Melbourne has been very proud that it has made its contribution to the present day Melbourne. The great challenge for all of us and the challenge for the Committee for Melbourne is for us to continue with a great city. And you'll hear from George Pappas later this evening about more of what we've done in the past, where we are today, and where we'll be going in the future. So in the interim, before we hear from George a little bit later on, I ask you to continue your entrees and enjoy yourself, and remember, no matter how bad a day you might have, when you come home at the end of the day, you're lucky. And you're lucky because you live in Melbourne. Thank you and enjoy your evening.